Honorable Dr. Amandeep Kaur, Principal GHG Har Prakash College of Education for Women, Sidhma, Ludhiana. Honorable Resource Person S. Rajendran, HOD Economics, Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University, Gandhigram, Tamil Nadu. Guest of Honor Professor J.P. Pachauri, former HOD Sociology and Social Work and Dean School of Humanity and Social Sciences, HNV Gadwal University, Srinagar, Uttarakhand. Honorable Professor Surosh Cholke, retired Principal, Church and College, Karnataka, Naac Assessor. Our respected management member, Sardar Pritam Singh Johal ji, Head of Department and Professor from various universities, principals from our mentee institutions and other colleges of Punjab, dear participants who join us through Zoom platform and YouTube live streaming, Iqac coordinator, Dr. Seema Chopra ji, and my dear colleagues. A very good morning to all of you. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my pleasant and heartfelt welcome to all of you. On the behalf of management, principal, internal quality assurance cell, and the whole Sidhma family, on the 6th day of this online national workshop on the theme Naac accreditation process and parameters, organized by GHG Har Prakash College of Education for Women, Sidhma, Ludhiana, from 12 September to 19 September. The galaxy of intellectuals, Your Excellency, invited guests, and my dear colleagues. Today, we will focus on the criteria 4, that is student support and progression. Criteria 5, sorry. We feel honored to have with Professor S. Rajendran, Naac Assessor, to give insight and enlighten us about each and every aspect of this criteria. Now, to proceed further, I now request our patron, Principal Dr. Amandeep Kaur, to welcome our honorable resource person for 6th day of this online national workshop. To welcome our resource person of the day, Professor S. Rajendran, Naac Assessor. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning to all. I'm delighted to welcome you all in this national workshop on the theme Naac accreditation process and parameters. It's my privilege to extend gracious welcome to our most honorable and esteemed resource person, Professor S. Rajendran.
Ma'am, not audible, not audible.
From our team and staff members. Professor S. Rajendran is Head of Department of Economics, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Puri Deemed University, Tamil Nadu. It's my pleasure to extend superb welcome to our treasured guest, Professor J.P. Pachauri, former Head Department of Sociology.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, please
Ma'am,
unmute.
speak a bit loudly.
And HNV Gadwal University, Uttarakhand. Professor Suresh Cholke,
Ma'am, please unmute.
Professor Suresh Cholke, Church and College, Karnataka, and Professor S.B. Shukla, Government Thakur, Ranmat College,
our
Karnataka.
management members, Sardar Pritam Singh Johal, retired
Member
ADC,
Sardar Pritam Singh Johal, retired ADC, is marking his presence every day. Sir, we appreciate your support and encouragement. Here's an appreciative welcome for you, sir.
I deeply acknowledge the presence
of principals and faculty members from our mentee institutions as well as from other participating institutes. I offer you all most grateful welcome.
Once again, pleasant welcome to all the resource person, to all guests,
To all guests, our resource person, Professor S. Rajendran, and all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. To proceed further, I now request Dr. Sarabjit Kaur, Assistant Professor, GHG Har Prakash College of Education for Women, Sidhma, Ludhiana, to briefing us about the criteria 5, that is students support and progression, that we are going to explore today. Dr. Sarabjit Kaur, ma'am, please.
very good morning and warm welcome to our esteemed dignitaries and most valued audience connected with us on 6th day of National Workshop on the theme Naac accreditation process and parameters under Pramharsh scheme of UGC. Today's session is focused on criteria 5, student support and progression, and we have with us our worthy resource person, Professor S. Rajendran, who will acquaint us with all the parameters of this criteria. The highlights of this criteria are the efforts of an institution to provide necessary assistance to students to enable them to acquire meaningful experiences for learning at the campus and to facilitate their holistic development and progression. It also look into students' performance and alumni profiles and the progression of students to higher education and gainful employment. Distribution of weightages across this key indicator are for universities 100, autonomous colleges 100, and affiliated and constituent colleges its weightage is 130. The focus of criteria 5 is captured in 4 key indicators: student support, student progression, student participation and activities, and fourth one is alumni engagement. As we know that students come to higher education from different backgrounds. Their needs differ significantly. It's the responsibility of institutions to cater their special needs and contribute in making their stay in the institution more enriching. Along with these measures, institutions must bring quality changes in teaching learning process as per the trend of progression of students. It's the fact that large number of students with degrees do not get job or are found unfit for the job for which they have to prescribed qualification. To help these students in improving their performance, institutions must identify the reasons of their poor performance and provide remedial measures. So the institution's concern for students' progression to higher studies or for employment is pertinent issue of this criteria. Institutions must make best use of their resources for developing various skills and competencies and thereby foster holistic development of students as well as for staff. The institution must promote inclusive practices for social justice and better stakeholder relationships, encouraging students' participation in activities and providing facilities for developing various skills and competencies and foster holistic development is basic requirement of this indicator. Active alumni association plays a significant role in higher education institutions. Thus, it is important to have an active alumni association for the benefit of students and teachers. We are having an expert of this field, Professor S. Rajendran, the treasure house of knowledge as a resource person of today's criteria. I welcome you, sir, to share your enriching experiences with us. Now I request Dr. Ajay for further proceeding. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarvjit Kaur, for briefing us about today's topic for the discussion. To proceed further, now I request Madam Manpreet Kaur, Assistant Professor, GHG Harprakash College of Education for Women, Shidma Khurd, Ludhiana, to introduce our honorable resource person, Professor S. Rajendran, Naac Assessor, with our participants. Madam, please.
A very good morning to all and welcome on the 6th day of National Workshop. I could see that many eminent personalities are attending the workshop right now. I take pride in introducing the pole star in the galaxy of well-read, elite and support pillars of our educational fraternity. His name is Professor S. Rajendran, HOD Economics, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Imtubi University, Tamil Nadu. He is having 24 years of teaching experience and his specialization in development studies. Along with it, he has been holding additional responsibilities like being a member of Vice Chancellor Search Committee in Alagappa University, member of Vice Chancellor, Convener Committee, Director of Curriculum Development, Syndicate member, and Senate member of Periyar University. He guided and awarded many students in MPhil and PhD. He published a couple of resourceful books, and he's decorated with number of awards and honors. Professor Rajendran has been continuously adding up to the research activities and has 24 years of vast teaching experience. He has undertaken many research projects funded by UGC, and one of them is Economic and Employment Generation of Organic and Conventional Farming in Tamil Nadu. He contributed to many seminars, conferences, and workshops. Apart from India, but he has been to many other countries for resourceful talks in national and international level conferences. I again welcome you, sir. Now, I would like to hand over the platform to Dr. Ajay to take this webinar to the next level. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a nice and elaborative introduction about our honorable resource person, Professor S. Rajendran, Naac Assessor. To proceed further, now I request honorable resource person, Professor S. Rajendran, HOD Economics, Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be University, Gandhigram, Tamil Nadu, to share his experiences, thoughts, and give us insight about each and every aspect of criteria 5, that is students' support and progression. Professor S. Rajendran, sir, please.
Hey everybody, very pleasant morning one and all, gathered before the online mode. And at the outset, let me congratulate the coordinator of the program, Dr. Ajay Kumar Pathania, for having taken all pains. And yesterday night also he disturbed me and told me that I should be before the screen by 10 o'clock sharp. I am before you, sir. And I would like to express my sincere thanks and congratulations to the college management council members, honorable principal, esteemed faculty members, respected IQAC members of this wonderful GHG Har Prakash College of Education for Women, Ludhiana. My dear active participants and the senior teachers who are sitting before the screen, guest of honor, Professor Pachori from Garhwal University, UK, Uttarakhand, Dr. Suresh Cholke, retired principal from Vijaypura, Northern Karnataka, who has been a motivating source for me ever since we met in Odisha on Naac assessment. I once again thank you all and also welcome you for this session. I could see on the other day when Dr. Suresh Cholke was sitting before the screen, there were 91 participants. Today it came down to 51 participants now. Perhaps they may add. But why I'm making this reference in economics, we say diminishing marginal utility. And I hope the participants will join in due course, and we look forward to have them before the screen. Now, the task given to me is to speak about the student support and the progression. Before I go over to the actual presentation of student support and the progression, many of us may be having strong apprehension about the Naac assessment itself. We may have the impression that Naac is an audit body, and therefore Naac will be very strict in each and every aspect of assessment and observation. Therefore, a kind of fear psycho will emerge, not only from the IQAC members, but also from all stakeholders, including students, non-teaching staff, and other members in the college. I think the perception, I started my teaching career from the University of Mysore, where Professor Jnanam, the founder director of Naac, came as the chairman of assessment Naac visit. And a very senior professor, Professor Tyagarajan, Dr. Tangamuthu came there. And it was not like that. It was very casual. I'm talking about the very beginning. I'm talking about the early 90s. And since then, we have crossed almost 2.5 decades. I was active member in Iqac in the Periyar University, Salem, and also here in Gandhigram Rural University. And we have gone to third cycle of accreditation. We never felt any inconvenience to subject ourselves for accreditation. Therefore, please, young friends who are sitting here, let us not have the impression that the Naac is coming to harass us or to excuse us or to test our ability. It is not like that. Then what for Naac? There are half a dozen reasons why we have to subject ourselves for assessment and accreditation. Let me list out, they are listed out in the screen. You yourself can see with your eyes. First and foremost reason for our accreditation is to know about our strength, weakness, opportunities, and the challenges of each and every higher educational institutions through the review process. I call them as self-introspection. The second reason is to identify internal areas of planning and resource allocation in the institution campus. The third reason for assessment is to seek financial support from various funding agencies, not only within India, but also elsewhere, because across the globe, most of the educational institutions or higher educational institutions, including colleges and universities, and also research institutes like IASC, Iqac, Bangalore, CDS, Trivandrum, and so on and so forth, they all look forward for financial resources through collaborative research, not only with the regional institutes, but also national institutes and foreign agencies. Such agencies look for whether your institution has been accredited, and if it is so, what is the score, etc. If your score is higher, then naturally there will be more for the research. And the fourth point is to get a new sense of direction and identity of your higher educational institution to take it forward. And the penultimate objective of assessment is to provide a reliable information, authentic information of your higher educational institution to each and every stakeholders like students, society in and around your neighborhood, what I call, and also recruiting agencies. I underline the word recruiting agency because nowadays the government agencies are unable to provide a job for all the graduates who are coming out, whether it is technical, medical, or arts and science or education. Therefore, there are recruiting agencies which look for graduates from leading and highly reputed institutes. Therefore, we go in for assessment process. And finally, to academically collaborate, exchange your ideas with the inter and intra-institutional institution. Institute is interested in doing for Naac accreditation, and therefore there are accrediting agencies like Naac which engage in accreditation of higher educational institutions. And having understood the objectives of assessment and accreditation, let us venture into understand what are the eligibility criteria for institution going for assessment. Remember, a higher educational institution with a record of at least 2 batches of students graduated, or it has been in existence for 6 years, whichever is earlier. Such institutions are eligible to go for applying for assessment and accreditation with Naac. All universities like ours and like Jawaharlal Nehru University, Banaras Hindu University, and also IASC. All institutions which are of national importance and all universities in India are eligible for accreditation. In addition to these national institutions, the autonomous colleges constituent colleges, affiliated colleges, which are affiliated to universities and recognized by the UGC as an affiliate university are all eligible for accreditation. And the accredited colleges and universities can apply again for reassessment or for subsequent cycle like cycle 2, cycle 3 and cycle 4. And the other type of institutions, higher educational institutions, at the discretion of Naac. And finally, the mandatory participation of all these institutions should have enrolled with the All India Survey on Higher Education portal. You are submitting your SSR. These are the eligibility criteria for any higher educational institutions, whether college, university, or national level important institutions which you go in for assessment and accreditation. Please remember these points. And now, having said these, the objectives for accreditation and also the eligibility criteria for accreditation, let me move on to the job given to me to discuss about the criterion 5. The title, as Madam was telling, student support and progression, which has 140 marks for UG college and 130 marks, 30 points for PG colleges. In nutshell, in summary, the primary objective of this criteria, primary focus of this criteria is the efforts of higher educational institution to provide necessary assistance, necessary directions to the important stakeholder, that is the students, to enable them to acquire and equip meaningful experiences for their learning and future career development to bring out good human resources. And the other objective, other point is to facilitate the students' holistic development and progression with more of confidence. You can produce graduates, but if they do not have self-confidence in their career, then it will become a futile exercise. Therefore, the higher educational institutions need to facilitate their holistic development and progression with the confidence to the stakeholders, the largest stakeholders, the students. And also, it looks into the criterion 5, looks into student performance from the perspective of students. We can assess the performance in terms of pass percentage, medal awarded, etc., university rank holders, etc. And beyond that, we also need to have in the area of extracurricular, extramural, how far the students have acquired their performance, their skill, etc. need to be assessed. And the progression of students to higher education and gainful employment. The students, once they are graduated, automatically they go for higher education at the PG level or MPhil. And of course, MPhil from this academic year onwards, we are going to scrap it. A PG or a PhD or postdoctoral level. And ultimately, all these should lead to gainful employment for the students' community. The criterion also encompasses the achievements, the accomplishments made by the stakeholders in extracurricular activities. I have the points, we will discuss it later. What are the extracurricular activities like? And the other component, which is very important, is the alumni profiles. Whether the alumni association is formally registered with the Register of Societies office, and the periodical meetings convened, minutes recorded in the registration book, actions initiated and taken over the agenda brought forth, and the impact delivered, impact achieved, impact attained from the actions initiated by the professional body association. Each and every educational institutions, particularly by focusing on student community, not just merely coming and conducting and examining the meetings and things like, but also they should focus on the welfare of the juniors, the remaining students in the campus. It's providing suggestions for higher education, for each higher education, and also to get employment in reputed institutions, and in some of the cases
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही। डॉक्टर राजेंद्रन सर, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही सर।
Universities, autonomous colleges. Universities include even the institutes of national importance like IITs, IISc, etc. Autonomous colleges, which are more in number, particularly in South India as compared to North India and Central India, and affiliated colleges, which I classified into two, undergraduate as well as postgraduate, because some of the aspects differ between these two types of institutions. And there are 7 criteria common for all these 4 types of institutions, higher educational institutions, and the key indicators vary. You can see yourself. For universities and autonomous colleges, there are 34 key indicators, and for affiliated colleges, the key indicators vary. For UG, they are only 31. For PG, it is 32. And next to that, we have qualitative matrices, which are assessed, which are observed by the peer team members during the peer team visit in the college. For universities, we have 36 key indicators, and for autonomous colleges, we have 35. Similarly, for affiliated colleges, UG, we have 35, and for PG, we have 36. And the quantitative matrices include, for universities, 79, for autonomous colleges, 72, for UG colleges, affiliated colleges, they are 58. For PG, the numbers are 60. Total, we have 115 for universities and institutes of national importance, including quantitative and qualitative matrices. And for autonomous colleges, they come to 107. And for UG, such items come to 93. And for PG colleges, they are accounted to 96. Now, having understood the distribution of key indicators and the matrix across various dimensions, including key indicators, qualitative matrix, and the quantitative matrix, let me move on to understand the distribution of scores across various criteria. We have 7 criteria, including our student support. Again, as I commented, the scores are varying between these two, but the summary score stands at 1,000 for each institutions, each type of institutions. And for curricular aspects, the criterion 1, we have equal number of scores, 150 for universities and national institutes, for autonomous colleges 150, and also for affiliated and constituent colleges 150. Teaching, learning, and evaluation, we have 200 for universities, 300 for autonomous colleges, and 350 for constituent and affiliated colleges. Friends, please remember, and sometimes because the Naac changes the score every now and then, at least once in 6 months, and therefore there is a possibility for variation, and therefore this is a kind of notional point I am giving, and sometimes they are subject to change now and then. And then the third criteria, research, innovation, and extension, we have 250 points under research, because we expect that the universities and national institutes, national importance institutes, are focusing more on innovative research and more of extension, and therefore the score is more here. And for autonomous colleges, it is 150. For affiliated colleges and constituent colleges, the score is 120. For infrastructure and learning resources, that is criteria 4, we have 100 scores each for all 3 types of institutions. And the student support and progression, which I am going to dwell upon next to this, For universities and college, autonomous colleges, we go 100 each. And for affiliated or constituent colleges, where for UG it is 140 and for PG it is 130. And the penultimate criteria, that is criteria 6, governance and leadership and management, which forms an important component in any higher educational institution, because we look for the strategic planning and then the team spirit, etc. Under governance, we have 100 marks, 100 scores each for all three types of institutions. And the last point, which is also again important, is which is reflecting about your institutional values and best practices, 100 points, 100 scores each on all three types of institutions. And having said the scores and the distribution of key indicators in two tables, let me move on to the dimension of student support and progression. For UG, it is 140 and for PG, it is 130. We have on the left hand side the key indicators 5.1 student support, which has 50 points, 5.2 student progression, where for UG 130, only 30, for PG 25, less 5, and for 5.3 student participation and activities, we have 50 points, whereas for PG colleges it is 45. And here in the alumni engagement we have 10 points, and put together it comes to 140. And for qualitative matrix we have 2, and quantitative matrix we have 11, and under student support we have 5 dimensions, which we will be looking into later in detail. And under 5.2 student progression, we have 3 important dimensions, again which we are going to see, we are going to look into subsequently. Similarly, student participation and activities we have 2, and for alumni engagement we have only 1. Now the breakup for qualitative matrices 2, which has 15 scores, and the quantitative matrix we have 11, which comes to 125 together. Now the first component, that is the student support, we have 50 points, where let me discuss point by point so that you will be able to grasp and understand. When you are preparing your SSR, this will be of more useful and crucial. Facilitating mechanisms like career guidance cell, placement cell, grievance redressal cell, and welfare measures to support students. Friends, please keep in your mind, students are the main stakeholders of any higher educational institution, whether it is university or institute or PG college or constituent college or UG college. The students are main stakeholders of any higher educational institution. Of late, earlier we were just degree providing, degree facilitating organizations. Now the situation has changed very drastically, where we started attaching much importance for career guidance and placement. Now, without sufficient, without proper, without scientific, without active a career guidance and a placement cell, no higher educational institution can sustain and survive if in the long run. Therefore, the higher educational institutions shall have facilitating mechanisms like career guidance, placement cell, and also grievance redressal mechanism, and ultimately these lead to support the students' community at large. Then only you can have peaceful atmosphere and a congenial campus where you can run the higher educational institution in a smooth manner. The second point I would like to emphasize under student support activity is the support should be specially designed inputs which are provided to the needy students with learning difficulties. What we mean here is the slow learners. What is the mechanism you have to address the difficulties, address the problems, address the issues of, address the demand and the requirements of slow learners? That is what we mean learning difficulties. The other point under the student support mechanism is the higher educational institution need to be facilitator in ideas like encouragement for seminars, debates, conferences, participation in conferences, attending training programs for advanced learners. And earlier we had seen the slow learners or the students with learning difficulties. Similarly, we should also have mechanism for advanced learners, and such students should be specially focused on encouraging to attend seminars, to debate, to discuss, to participate in debates, conferences, training programs, not only at regional level, not only at local level, colleges or institute or university level, but also at state level and national level, if possible at international level. I know there are some institutes there are some colleges in Maharashtra, there are some colleges in Gujarat, there are some colleges in our own state, in Tamil Nadu. They encourage students to participate on these academic programs including training programs, not only within India, but also elsewhere. And therefore, I suggest the student support should include all these for advanced learners, so that they can take our institute, our higher educational organization, whether it is college or institute or constituent college, to newer heights, newer strides. And also, you should have provision for bridge and value-added courses in the relevant and useful and purposeful areas which the higher educational institution can identify and inculcate among the students' community. And a higher educational institution has to have a well-structured, organized career guidance and counseling in place, counseling system in place. Please remember, you all may be wondering, what is this Gandhigram Rural Institute bracket? We call them as deemed to be university. Please remember, in India, around the 50s, around 1950s, only 14 universities of national importance were started across the country. Only Gandhigram is surviving now. We have unique system of student-teacher relationship here. We have Gurukula system where 4 or 5 students are allotted to each teacher to take care of their not only education but also personal issues. If the girl students means there may be a number of issues, and if the boys, there are some issues which need to be taken into account, and the respective groups, respective counselor will take care of intensively their difficulties and find out the solutions, so that the universities, the higher educational institutions will be having a pleasant atmosphere among the student community. Therefore, the counseling system, whether it is financial matter, whether it is personal matter, whether it is gender issue, whether it is student-teacher conflict or cooperation, the group should be held responsible for taking care of this. I insist, across the country during mid-50s of previous century, 14 institutions were started. Only Gandhigram is surviving. Still today, we have the Gurukula system in Gandhigram campus, which is located very close to Madurai in Tamil Nadu. And please remember, friends, the students should be benefited through various supportive measures like earn while learn, scholarships, freeships, fellowships, and other financial means should be identified by higher educational institutions. I mean, the higher educational institutions through its IQAC or various forums, through including the management forum, management council, should see that such facilities, such financial assistance are provided to students while they are in the campus for higher education. If you are doing like many institutions, they can bring laurels and accomplishments to your institution, which will have more status, more prestige, more name in your locality at local level and also at national level. And having said that, the student support, let me move on to the average percentage of students benefited by the financial assistance in the form of scholarships and freeships provided by the government, whether it is central government or state government, during the last 5 years, because the last 5 years refer to the institutions which go in for assessment. And please, friends, remember, since this is the Paramasha institution, the faculty members, including Patani, may be knowing very well that the 5 years include the even before the day of visit of the peer team members. But you should not leave any information, any data which are pertaining to student support and progression, whether it is financial or whether it is counseling, etc. Because each and every even bit of information will be more useful for assessors to keep in mind, to give Philip to think of providing more scores. Therefore, the last 5 years include the reference period of your assessment, and which has 20 points. And the data requirement include year-wise information, number of students by schemes, and also the number of students benefited from such schemes. Please remember, friends and respected teachers, when you are giving the students, you can classify like economically backward, economically advanced, socially backward, socially advanced, or forward, or OBC, SC, ST, and forward communities. You can classify your own way and provide a detailed and comprehensive information under this on the average percentage of students benefited by scholarships and free seats. When we talk about average students, it has to be worked out with the total number of students in the respective group, respective class, like economic class or social class, whichever you are taking into account. I can make it clear. The next point is the average percentage of students benefited by scholarships, free seats, etc. provided by the institution, the higher educational institution, which is subjected to assessment and accreditation. And also the development organizations or civil societies or non-governmental organizations which are located in your neighborhood by years for last 5 years, which has 5 marks. We call them as quantitative matrix. And the data required include for last 5 years, which has the component of name of the scheme, I mean the program, with the contact information of the organization, whether it is development organization, whether it is government state-owned institution or philanthropic institution, whichever you have, you can include that. And I will come to a point where I can give a very interesting and emulating example here. When I was working as professor and head in the Department of Economics in Periyar University, Salem, I could contact personally with the local entrepreneurs. You know that Salem is one of the industrially advanced districts in Tamil Nadu, where we could catch hold the philanthropists, around 5. Only in economics department we have 5 philanthropic fund, where each year we give award to the university rank holders for PG students in our department. I think one of the convocation addresses, the governor was amazed to see a student was receiving more than 6 awards for various subjects within economics, and which boosts naturally the morale of the department and also the higher educational institution. And therefore, not only just the teaching community in the college and in the university or in the institution should confine only to teaching and research, but also to look for locating or identifying the philanthropists in your area. If it is Ludhiana is a very industrial advanced place, I know, and you can catch hold of the industrialists, you can request them, you can convince them to set up the endowment fund in the department or in the institution, so that this will be a supportive aspect for the student fraternity. And also, in addition to the scheme and the contact information of the philanthropist, you can provide the number of students benefited under each scheme or each endowment fund, etc. The contact information is required because in case if the Naac wishes, they can directly get in touch with them to ascertain whether it is active or passive, things like that's all. The 5.13, the first point, student support, is capacity building and skills enhancement initiatives taken by higher educational institutions, including the following, which has 10 points, 10 scores. Friends, I emphasized in one of these slides earlier, nowadays, the traditional method of teaching and the traditional method of focus in higher educational institution has been drastically changing, and therefore, the institution is expected to provide sound career counseling and also motivating the students for competing in the competitive examination and things like. Therefore, the departments, the faculty members, the IQAC, the authorities in the higher educational institutions should see that the students are encouraged, motivated, and advised to participate in taking competitive examinations and career counseling, information communication technology oriented software skills, remedial coaching, language and communication skills. And I think most of the students, they lack with the communication skill. They are good at the subject. They score good marks. They do extremely well in the end semester examinations. But unfortunately, they lack communication skill, communicative skill. When they are attending the interview in the career counseling and placement meetings, I could see a number of students face utterly the difficulty of communicating in easy way. Therefore, most of the institutions started focusing on the disseminating communication skill in addition to bridge courses. Therefore, I think this area should be focused in a very concrete manner, and I think Naac gives attention to this, and therefore this is included in this component of 15.1.3 under capacity building and skill enhancement. And bridge courses, life skills include yoga, physical fitness, health and hygiene. Please remember, when the entire world, when the entire globe is subjected to COVID-19 pandemic, excuse me, let me have some water. Now the focus on health-oriented aspect becomes important. I think Indian way of keeping your body fit includes yoga, which the present government is giving utmost importance, so that the students will be having physical fitness. I think not only for necessary for students, but also it is important for teachers. Teachers who are in advanced age like us will be having a lot of pressure and a lot of tension, and therefore yoga will relieve and keep ourselves fit to be in the classroom and in the department. And therefore, life skills including yoga, physical fitness, health and hygiene are important component in the capacity building and skill enhancement under 5.13. And finally, personal counseling. I gave a very classic example of Gandhigram experience, and therefore the personal counseling forms a pivotal role in the molding of students, fraternity, students, community in the higher educational institution campus. So this includes the options like, depending upon the options, we award scores like 7 or more of the above, or B, any 6 of the above, or any 5 of the above, and D, any 4 of the above. Depending upon the combinations of the options, we offer points to this point, 5.13 on capacity building of the students and the career counseling. Now, data requirement for this aspect includes, and it depends upon the data template provided in the SSR, name of the capacity building and the skills enhancement initiatives taken by the higher educational institutions. Please remember, this should have record. You need not, you cannot just say that we have conducted 3 or 4 capacity building programs and wind up. You need to have a register. I think I have in the concluding sessions, concluding part of the discussion, where the aspects which you need to keep in your office as files or documents that are required for showing or displaying during the Naac peer team visit. I have a couple of points that we will discuss at the end. And therefore, the capacity building initiative taken by higher educational institution and also skill enhancement should have record with the date wise and session wise. All should be kept in the department and in the IQAC. Year of implementation, number of students enrolled, number of students actively participated, and number of students gainfully benefited from such capacity building activities. And name of the agencies engaged with the contact details for capacity building. And now let us move on to the next component, 5.14, 4, where the average percentage of students benefited by guidance for competitive examinations and career counseling offered by the higher educational institution, whether it is college or university or institute, during the reference period of 5 years. And here we have 2 rows, one is year and number, and the data required for this component includes 5 years as per the again data template, not temple, it is wrongly typed, data template, and which includes the name of the scheme, number of students who have passed in the competitive examinations. They would have taken up various competitive examinations, including regional level, national level, etc. And the number of students Institute, National Institute for my doctoral thesis. And we never came across the institution which has a special place for sexual harassment and ragging. In those days, it was not very common. But nowadays, this becomes an issue. And every quarter, every beginning of the academic year, the UGC and AICTE sends information, even including NCTE, they send communication to the institution to take care of their students and free from ragging and also the sexual harassment. Therefore, this becomes an issue nowadays, and therefore the Naac gives utmost importance for this aspect as well, which include the implementation of guidelines of statutory and regulatory bodies, whether you have such cells or not, which are in consonance with the guidelines of statutory and regulatory bodies. And the organization undertakes the higher educational mechanisms for online and offline students' grievances. And sometimes if you visit any college, you find very neatly painted boxes for students to place the letters on grievances. But once you complete, and then they will just remove the box and they go away. But nowadays, to remove that hurdle, and they have online, you can also give the you can submit the grievances through online, which is fairly safe and reachable to the authorities, to the body, to the concerned cell. Therefore, now the institutions shall have online and offline facilities for addressing the students' grievances. And not only that, whether the grievances were timely addressed, mechanisms which were delivered by the statutory body or statutory cell. These 4 points are important in this context of sexual harassment and ragging cases. And the options include A, all of the above, and B, 3 of the above, and C, 2 of the above, and D, 1 of the above. And sometimes some colleges may not be having any of these facilities, which we have to give 0 mark for that. And the data requirement includes upload the grievance redressal policy document, what we stated earlier, the mechanism, with reference to the Prevention of Sexual Harassment Committee and Anti-Ragging Committee, and also the constitution of various subcommittees for addressing the issues, minutes recorded in the meetings of the committee, such committee, and also number of cases received and redressed subsequently. Not only that, we in our campus in the Gandhigram, we go little beyond. After redressing, whether the student is feeling comfortable, and we inquire with the parents and or the guardians with the students, and then only we will be happy with that, and it will be seriously and very comprehensively monitored by the authorities in our campus. So such a facility should be left to the higher educational institution to take care of your sexual harassment and what you call the ragging. And 5.2, we are moving on to student progression, which has 30 points. The institution is expected to have concern for student progression to higher studies and or to employment is a pertinent issue for assessment and accreditation. I made a reference in the beginning. In those days, the institutions were mere degree providing or facilitating to provide a degree was the responsibility of the higher educational institutions, particularly the colleges. But of late, the situation has been very drastically changed because of the competitive world and the market-oriented opening up of economy to the global market, etc. And now it becomes very strict, very comprehensive, very complex and also difficult. And hence, it is expected that whether the particular institution is concerned, is seriously taking care of the students' progression to the higher studies of students and or in the arena of employment is an important issue nowadays. Therefore, please remember whether your institution is focusing on students' progression for higher studies and or employment is a paramount issue in the campus for attaining more score. Please remember this point. And please remember, sometimes there may be, because of the formal intervention of the student, formal intervention of the higher educational institution, the students would have obtained higher degrees or employment. But please remember, because of the initiatives taken by some individual teacher or individuals around the student's neighborhood, he would have employed. Whatever be the case, but in case if there are some examples of higher merit, you can include in your data. You can claim that such a student who studied in your institution became a higher leader in the employment arena. Therefore, they are claiming. There is no harm about it. And also, the other point is the responsibility of higher educational institution is to identify the reasons for poor attainment and the plan of action and the implementation of remedial measures. Please remember, you cannot expect all higher educational institutions to have higher enrollment ratio for higher level of studies, like from degree to PG or PG to MPhil or PhD or PhD to PDF, maybe due to locational, institutional, or the other reasons. Such institution may not be possible. But what the institution has taken initiative to rectify such difficulties, that is the point the Naac is expecting, and it is also expecting how such initiatives were implemented in the form of remedial measures. So please, all the IQAC members, all the young faculty members who are sitting before the screen, please remember this point, and in a way, any institution which may not be possible to provide 100% employment or 100% progression to higher studies, but what is the effective and institutional interventional mechanism which has been initiated from the college or university itself, and how far it has yielded fruit. This need to be documented and recorded for assessment purpose. Now, the second point is sustainable good practices which effectively support the students to facilitate optimal progression. I have highlighted this in enough way. The institutional provisions should facilitate vertical movement of students from one level of education to the next higher level, or towards gainful employment, or both. And that is what I would always advise my students. Before you complete your education, you should have job beforehand. Therefore, I encourage my students, starting from the enrollment into UG level. In our campus, we have UG as well. And you keep on writing competitive examinations. We have different cells here in the campus, like SC/ST counseling cell, the general students career counseling, and also training cell. And we periodically conduct the cells and conduct the training programs. And the students are employed in banking sector and other government jobs. Therefore, the institutions shall have provisions to facilitate vertical movement of students from one level of education to next higher level, or towards higher and gainful employment, or both higher education as well as gainful employment. And the students qualifying for state, national, and or international level examinations or competition should be identified by higher educational institutions, and also the institution take the responsibility to mold the students to successfully and effectively compete and qualify in these examinations. Now, under the 5.21, we have the table, and where we have average percentage of placement of outgoing students during the last 5 years. We have 10 points. We have year and number. Data requirement for the last 5 years as per the template given by the Naac in the SSR. Name of the employer with the contact details, including phone number, specific address, etc. Because sometimes virtually they conduct, and sometimes they will give training also to attend the students for placement. Therefore, this will be of a document for the college or university, and therefore you collect all details and they keep it in your safe custody. And the number of students placed from placement cell in the placement campus. And sometimes your college may conduct placement campaigns, or you may, in association with the neighborhood colleges also, you may conduct, or if it is an affiliated college, they may conduct in the affiliated university in the campus. So there are 3 types of possibilities, and wherever you do, wherever you did, you document and provide as additional information to the point on average percentage of placement of outgoing students during the last 5 years. And here we too, in the campus, in our campus, even from our own students, our own departments, we have difficulty in maintaining the document, particularly the students who are coming from northeastern states like Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland, etc. And also from neighboring state, Kerala. We have a lot of students from other states, including Karnataka, Maharashtra, we have students. Now, it is a difficult thing for us, but what we do, we follow snowballing method, and through one correspondence, we try to establish network and then get the information through online. Therefore, any institution which are interested in going for higher assessment and accreditation should focus on this to gather maximum information. And please keep this in your mind. And the 5.2.2, which is quantitative matrix, where we have average percentage of students progress into higher education during the last 5 years, year-wise and program-wise, you can give. And the number of outgone students progression to higher education, data requirement as per given template. This can also be given in the form of table. And the number of students proceeding from, which include undergraduate to postgraduate. It could be within the college or neighboring colleges or elsewhere, from PG to MPhil. And of course, MPhil we need not give importance from this year onwards. But however, the institutions which are going for a submit SSR this year certainly may have MPhil, and they can include PG to MPhil, and PG to PhD, and MPhil to PhD, and finally PhD to postdoctoral research. From my experience, except most of the South Indian states and many colleges in North India do not have even PhD, and postdoctoral may be difficult. But here in South India, particularly in Tamil Nadu, we have number of autonomous colleges where each college is in size of universities. Therefore, we have postdoctoral PDF program as well. Even we have visiting scholars program in some of the colleges, and you can document and keep the file ready for the students progressing to higher education during the reference period of 5 years. And as I insist, you please don't leave any bit of information on any stage, on any aspect pertaining to student progression and support, because even a small information will be of great help to boost your point, your score. And then 5.2.3, average percentage of students qualifying in state, national, international level examinations during the last 5 years include JAM, CLAT, GAT, GMAT, CAT, GRE, TOEFL, civil services, state government examinations, which has 5 points. Qualifying students year and the number, and then appearing students year and the number, and then you can work out the percentage of students who have cleared from appearing students. This is what I mean qualifying and appearing students. And the data included, data required for this aspect for the last 5 years, which should be in consonance with the format given by the Naac, and it can be from item wise like JAM, CLAT, NET, etc., which also includes the state government examinations. Others, in case if there are any, you can include in your template. And friends, now we move on to the third component of student support and progression. The first two being the student support and progression. The third component is student participation and activities, which has 50 marks. Now, before we get on to the tables and required data, let us briefly outline the focus of student participation and activities in this juncture. The higher educational institution is expected to promote inclusive practices for social justice and better stakeholder relationship. The higher educational institution is expected to promote inclusive practices for social justice, for attaining social justice, and to have better stakeholder relationship. If you are having always a conflicting relationship, that this will affect the academic atmosphere. Therefore, the participation and activities should include inclusive social justice and also the stakeholder relationship. And the higher educational institution is expected to promote value-based education for inculcating, for igniting, and for emulating the students on social responsibility and good citizenry among the stakeholding student community. We just need not to produce the students, or we need not to help the students to get degrees, but we have to inculcate, ignite the students to have value-based education in the stakeholding group, that is student community. That is another responsibility of the students, the higher educational institution, while it deals about the students' participation and activities. The third component is the higher educational institution has the required infrastructure and promotes active participation of the students in social, cultural, and leisure activities. Friends, I would like to confess my bitter as well as excellent experiences, green memories on various occasions to visit different states, including Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and South Indian states like Karnataka, etc. Some of the institutions are really bad, but try to show off in a good manner. But there are some institutions which do have moderate facilities, but failed to project it as moderate facility. They try to show off here and there and they get trapped. And there are good institutions which do have excellent infrastructure facilities, but failed to promote the participation of students. So these three set of institutions we could witness. I think Professor Cholke and Professor Pachori might have also encountered such situations in their experiences. But whatever be the case, but the higher educational institution is required to have good infrastructure, which ultimately promotes active participation of students in social, cultural, and leisure activities. I remember, I think even though we have, in the first day, in the last session of the first day of our PT visit, we have cultural activity. Friends, I remember in one of the colleges which are fully dominated by scheduled tribe communities in Kerala, scheduled tribe students, they performed extremely well in the cultural program. And we were thoroughly thrilled, and the chairman from North India was amazed to see such a spectacular participation by the students from tribal dominated area in Kerala. Therefore, only thing is students do have the skill. Only thing is the teaching fraternity, the teachers, the counselors, the institution shall motivate such students to display their ability in displaying social, cultural, and leisure activities. And also, the institution shall encourage the students' participation in activities which facilitate developing various skills and competencies and foster a holistic development in the campus. You need not expect that always most of the students should get or shall get the ranks, top 10 ranks from the university, etc. Students shall have holistic development in their mental activity, holistic development in their mental attitude, not just lopsided, not just a compartmentalized development. A student means he should be in a position to have acquired knowledge, skill, and also competency to face any eventuality in his career. That is the kind of development, the holistic development in the higher educational institution self-foster to mend the students. Now we come to the actual data, quantitative matrix, where the number of awards, medals for outstanding performance in sports, cultural activities at university, state, national, international level awards. Friends, please keep here in your mind, award given for entire team should be treated as one unit, not individual awards. And this information for last 5 years, the reference period, which has 20 points. Here we have year and the number of students who were awarded various medals and awards. Data requirement as usual for the past five years as per the template given, which include university, national, state level, national and international level. The aspects include sports, culture, and again the award for team should be treated as one unit. One unit. Now let us move on to the qualitative matrix of 5.32, where the institution facilitates students for representation and engagement in various administrative, co-curricular and extracurricular activities, presence of an active student council, students representation on various academic and administrative bodies, and the council is per established process and norms of higher educational institutions. Friends, I think IQAC has students representation. Similarly, in some of the colleges, they have representation of students in the various administrative body of the college and also academic bodies of the college. We have planning forum, students planning forum, students discourse forum, students council for respective schools, and things like which need to be taken into account while assessing in the form of qualitative matrix, which you do have 500 words. I remember on the other day, Professor Cholke in his presentation was made a reference. 500 words means 500 words, not 1500 words. So you should stick on to the maximum limit, and please remember this point. Because of over enthusiasm and the number of students have got more score, more awards, etc., you cannot go on elaborating in a large scale like writing economic essay for 20 marks. It should be precise, concise, and to the point. And then the 5.3.3 average number of student sports and cultural events, competitions in which students of the institution participated during the last 5 years, organized by your own institution or neighboring institution or your affiliating university, which has 20 marks. And here the data required for 5 years as per the data template given, and list the number of events or competitions held from your own institution or elsewhere, and the outcome of the students. They might have got a runner or something, but which need to be described here in the 5.3.3. Now I think we came to the last aspect. Again and again, I'm insisting, please remember the information pertaining to student progression and the support should come from various sectors, various sides, like sports, cultural department, then what you call IQAC, etc. But everything should be blended and provide pakka information, authentic information with the appropriate data and also the accurate data, not just peripheral information or just the oral information. You should give accurate information with the evidence. Evidence-based information is required. And for heaven's sake, we may be having some differences, ideological differences, and also the subjective differences like economics is superior, management is superior, geography is superior, something like. You should forget about all that while preparing the SSR and also completing the process of assessment, Naac assessment. You forget about all these differences. You put all your heads as one and united. You deliver all the required information and comprehend, which should be a useful and purposeful one for the for getting high score from the Naac candidate to impress upon the peer team members. Now let us move on to the last dimension of the student support and progression. We have alumni engagement, which has 10 points. Friends, remember, alumni engagement doesn't mean that you go to just call a couple of alumni and make some meetings, having chai, then snacks, etc., and then disperse, having chat with the authorities, etc. Now, alumni means the students who passed out from your institution. Maybe they may be employed as a teacher, or even they may be in the council also, college council also, but they should be proactive in delivering good services to the institution. Please remember this point. Not passive alumni, but active alumni. The association shall have registration, pakka registration. The association must be active and contributing to the betterment of institution, student community in the form of infrastructure and also financial resources, and more importantly, in guiding and counseling the student folk in the area of employment. I remember in one of the colleges in Gujarat, the alumni went to abroad. They settled there. One guy is in Vietnam. Please remember, he is having his office in Hanoi, the headquarters of Vietnam. He has marble industry there, and the students from the college, it is a government college actually, and every year 2 or 3 students are actively taken and given guidance by the respective alumni members, and they are sent to Vietnam and they are gainfully employed there. And similarly, in Kerala, we found that you know that the Kerala is relying on postcard money from especially South Asian countries and East Asian countries, Arab countries, and most of the migrants from Kerala, they give counseling to the students in Malappuram district, Calicut district, and also in Kollam district, and they make organized system to help the students left in the colleges and gainfully employ there as self-employed. As most of the cases, they go in the healthcare sector. Therefore, alumni association doesn't mean that they just come and attend meeting, convene meeting, and then forget it. Therefore, I suggest they give even counseling to appear for NET UGC set examinations. There are successful cases, as my team experience says. Engagement should have the following dimensions. The first one is alumni are a strong support to the institution and to facilitate the stakeholders, including students and teachers and administrators, in academic and related activities for a holistic development of the higher educational institution. I think Punjab is not second to none. Punjab has got a traditional philanthropic activity, and therefore your alumni will be having liberal support to you, both for academic as well as infrastructure development in the campus. I think I'm sure about it, and there may be, because my experience doesn't say anything, because I have not visited Punjab so far, Punjab and Haryana. I came up to Gujarat and Rajasthan, that's all. And I'm waiting, and I may get some inspiration from Punjab regarding the philanthropic attitude for student support and through alumni. An active alumni association can contribute in academic matters student support as well as mobilization of resources through their own association, and also they can facilitate to mobilize resources from elsewhere for both financial and non-financial. The institution nurtures the alumni association, and in turn, the higher educational institution should also extend all support to flourish, to nourish the alumni association to take forward its activity in the campus, or the chapters to facilitate them to contribute significantly to the development of the institution through financial and non-financial means. Friends, I would like to mention a classic example which comes to my mind now, verbatim. There is a college called Maharaja's College in Ernakulam. Yes, I think it's a old college. Sorry? So, I am not able to follow. Could you please louder? There is some interruption.
Carry on, please. No, sir. Sorry,
Okay,
sir.
okay, fine. I think I had a very pleasant experience in Maharaja's College, Ernakulam, Kerala, where for my surprise, top 10 Kerala artists, they come from, including Mammootty, the famous actor Mammootty. He come from that college, and liberally they are supporting the classrooms, and above all, they are facilitating the students to come and join in the film industry. Therefore, from my perception, from my understanding, there are good alumni which do excellent job in building and taking forward the higher educational institutions to newer heights. And 5.4.1 is a qualitative matrix which has a registered and actively functional alumni association or chapters that contributes liberally and significantly to the development of the institution through financial and other support mechanisms, which has 5 points. This need to be in a descriptive form, which, as I insist in the words of Professor Cholke, should not exceed 500 words in strict. And having said this, let me move on to 5.4.2. The alumni contribution can be graded in 5 scale. We have like B between 5 lakhs and support, financial support, monetary support extended, you can award mark, and the data required include for 5 years, which has alumni association, name of the alumni, quantum of the contribution in sum, and also the audited statement of account of the institution reflecting the receipts and expenditure. This is very important. The document will be looked into. Now, this is what the job given to me, I completed on the dimension of student support and progression. I think I have covered all the, as Madam was telling, 4 components: student support, student progression, student participation and activities, and finally alumni engagement. Having said that, I think we have still 30 minutes time. Another 15 to highlight which are the papers, which are the files, which are the documents you require for supporting to gain maximum point from the student support and progression criteria. And also these files, these documents may be useful for other criteria as well. And friends, remember, since I have some experience in preparing SSR and also the visiting institutions, I have taken the information from section wise. Which are the sections you can collect the information on or keep the files and documents, relevant documents for the student support and progression. Shall I go ahead, Professor Ajay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
I want to go a little beyond than the
yes, sir.
Suggestion you had given.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Yes, sir. Okay. Please carry on. Carry on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Let me show it. and you can have a look at it. And the documents required for criterion 5. Please remember, I insist and I repeat, I emphasize again and again, you don't miss even a bit of information. Police officers, they look for evidences. Even a small evidence like hair will be a turning point in the investigation. In the assessment and preparing SSR, you don't leave any information. Please have as much as information, very exhaustive information, so that the peer team will be more impressive and the assessment will be scientific and comprehensive. The applications sold program wise during the last 5 years. This is required because it clearly will show the the demand ratio, both the first and second file, applications sold and also the students admitted program wise, which will show clearly the demand ratio. And the third point, list of students from other states and countries respectively for 5 years. Some colleges and universities I know do have students from other states and countries. You can include them here under student, and you can maintain the file on that. List of MPhil PhD scholars and by program wise for the past 5 years, and the fellowships obtained by research scholars from various institutions like ICSSR, ICHR, ICCR, Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, UGC, and also the independent institutions like Ratan Tata, etc., Wellcome Trust, etc. And the seventh aspect from academic section is list of students permitted to visit abroad by program like visiting, exchange, PDF, etc. Postdoctoral fellowships, visiting and exchange on fellowships to abroad. And then more importantly, please remember the feedback forms obtained by students and action taken on the feedback, action taken report. They form a separate file or document which may be available from the academic section of the university or institute. I have limited knowledge about college. I think they keep safely in the IQAC wing. From the examinations section, you can have some information like result analysis. Result analysis I make, I think this comes in the curricular aspects as well. Here also you can make and keep the record, like comparing your institution's result output with the neighborhood college or your affiliate university. Suppose if a college is affiliated to Bombay University or Madras University, you can compare the result with the affiliating university overall result analysis. You can keep it. You can keep it how far it has come out well, and as a separate file in the examination section. They can show it to the visiting members. Number of malpractices. For over enthusiasm, please don't keep the record if the malpractices are many. If the malpractices are less, it is better. Don't keep, if the malpractices are something like hundreds and thousands, don't keep them. Therefore, you see that the number of malpractices are also kept there. Exam related complaints addressed and then the redressal made. What is the time between the complaints registered and then the redressal made? Such documents should be kept as a file. List of students awarded MPhil and PhD programs during the reference period of 5 years. And such files may be available from the examination section. The next one is reservation cell. I think each university, each institute, I think bigger colleges are having reservation cell like OBC, SC, ST, and things like the physically challenged, etc. List of scholarship details. There may be number of scholarships. You can have the file for that. List of research scholars availing OBC, SC, ST financial assistance. It could be in the form of fellowship. It could be in the form of scholarship. It could be in the form of some assistance you can have. Even it could be from development organizations like, as I said, Ratan Tata or Wellcome Trust. Maybe some such institutions, such organizations also may be having scholarship for OBC and SC students. And then list of single girl child scholarship This is being given by UGC and also the National Testing Service Agency. So they also have. And then list of research fellowships. What are the research fellowships you have? You may be having number of fellowships for science, arts, management, education, engineering, etc. And all the fellowships should be listed out and have. Friends, at this point, I would like to emphasize here, not just merely for number of fellowships you can have, but also notable agencies. Notable agencies. You can have something like international fellowships, like IDRC, like ILO fellowship, like World Bank fellowship. Such fellowships like Fulbright fellowship, Ford Foundation fellowship. If you have that, your accomplishment will go up, and the authorities will be thinking of awarding more grade. And then earn while learn, this is common in many of the institutions nowadays. And please remember, all these records should be authentic and appropriate. And then from the NCC, NSS, and also CS, Community Social Services Wing, we have list of meritorious student members, certificate holders, etc. Engaged in innovative activities in the campus. Most of the NSS units go for campus, annual camps. But what is the innovative activity they do there? I remember in one of the colleges, snake from family, etc. Village has number of snakes, number of poisonous snakes. These students, they taught the local youths how to catch snakes without harming the snakes, as well as getting bitten by these snakes. Therefore, this can be called as innovative activity. So therefore, the assessors will be looking for innovative activities that has been carried out in the campus, and also in the camps, in the NSS and the NCC camps. What are they? If they are there, you can list out and you can bring up in the form of final document. And the other one is details of participation in disaster, crisis, and crowd management. Sometimes our volunteers are engaged in disaster, crisis, and crowd management in notable places. Like your Gurudwara, students, volunteers may be there to maintain the crowd, etc. Because we Indians, you know how we are abiding by rules, etc. Therefore, crowd management is one of the important aspects in religious places, and the participation of students or the volunteers may be kept as a separate file. You can have even photographs. Participation in Republic Day, Parade, etc. can show us good record, good information, good source of document. Career guidance and placement cell. You will be having the salary component, etc. You can work. And also you can list out the notable companies, the company's orders, the company's communication or MOU, etc. can form as a document under career guidance and placement. And then training programs organized by the placement cell, where you have invited the Tata Consultancy or Infosys, etc. Such as training can be shown as document to the authorities. In addition to these, the universities also conduct placement camps in various places within the campus and outside. Such a document and the photos can be placed. And then, in addition to these, student association activities. There are students association activities which do carry out both academic as well as the other activities in the campus, which can be taken as reliable source and document. Alumni association I highlighted already, but however, you please remember details of registration, register with the details of meetings and resolutions, and also the contributions made by the association, the particulars of star alumni. As I commented, you may be having some star alumni from your college, whether from social life or politicians or cine field, even in academics. I think in our state we call them as responsible alumni, and we also award some awards annually in each universities. So that way you can encourage and make the alumni association more sound and more active, and then support the training given to the students, guidance directed by the alumni association, placement made from the alumni association to stakeholder, that is the student community at large. I think all these form very important document for displaying in the college during visit. And then role of the IQAC, as you all know, which is very important because this is spinal cord of the system, and it has the role as advisor, facilitator, planner, compiler of data, and also the role player in the process of accreditation of higher educational institution. Therefore, IQAC is everything. IQAC is everything from scratch to gold. Therefore, IQAC has a many role, but remember, IQAC members should be supported by other faculty members and administration in a very pleasant manner, in a cordial manner, in a fruitful, in a purposeful manner, so that they can take forward the assessment and accreditation process without any hassle. Therefore, these many documents you please keep in your mind. And in addition to these, I would like to give a couple of general suggestions, because you have to sensitize entire campus. What I mean entire campus is starting from sand and stone of our institution. That much importance you should give, and everybody should know what is Naac, why they are coming, what is the role of each and every stakeholder of the campus, students, teaching, non-teaching, parents, alumni, etc. And also the officials who are associated with the college, with the university, with the institution. Therefore, the sensitization is very important. Before you prepare SSR, after submitting SSR, before visiting Spirit team, and you can have number of meetings either collectively or individually to each group and sensitize them. This is a general point I want to make and I want to emphasize. With regard to students, please remember some of the students are poor in English communication, and the Naac will randomly pick up only 10% of the students who have responded with the phone numbers, email IDs for interactive session with the PT members, with the data verification and validation. Therefore, you see that the students list which you are supplying to the Naac, most of the students are having language. Most of the students are good at communicative skill in English. And also you should sensitize the students. The Naac will randomly ask students to give their responses on all the dimensions of 7 criteria and in their own way. And therefore, you should sensitize, you should educate, you should motivate, you should ignite the students to be prepared to respond positively about your college. And they will be having some other idea, and you should orient them. And it is the responsibility of IQAC and the authorities to do that. And also sensitize alumni and parents, because this will be of helpful for the management to arrange the hassle-free alumni meet, parents meet with the peer team visit during the assessment. This is what I want to share some of my random thoughts with you, and I wish all of you to have splendid student progression and also support for ultimately getting higher grade. I wish you all the best. Thank you, and thank you very much for the opportunity given to share some of my thoughts in the nice morning today. Thank you all, and I thank specifically Dr. Suresh and Dr. Patania. Thank you all. If there are some queries, and we can discuss and clarify.
Thank you very much, sir. I am grateful to for the amazing and very informative presentation. We all greatly appreciate it. It was nothing short of incredible, informative, and interesting. Sir, I am struggling to find out the right words to express my gratitude to you. Please accept our heartiest congratulations and sincerest thanks for delivering to us such a remarkable, outstanding, knowledgeable, and informative lecture. I hope, and rather I'm sure that all the participants got benefited from your enlightened, very informative, and very elaborative deliberation. Sir, we always look forward to have more interaction in future discourse also. So once again, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaste. 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 Is there any interactive session now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yeah, please.
After very elaborative and informative deliberation by Professor S. Rajendran ji, now the session is open for question answers. So, my dear participants, please feel free to ask questions. Over to you, participants.
Ajay sir, I'm having one question, sir. May
Yes,
I?
ma'am. Please ask.
Very interactive and very informative session, sir. So my question is in regard to 5.2.1 matrix. So actually, sir, I'm working in a law college, and what happens actually is our student, when they pass out now, they happens to go to court because they are not getting good jobs after doing LLB or BLLB. So can we mention this particular thing if they get them, from the they are placed under that particular advocate on his or her letterhead. So can we mention this particular point under placement, sir? They are placed under such and such advocate.
No,
Can you take the benefit, sir?
No.
Yes, sir,
can I
please.
respond? Can I respond now?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is not a placement as such, but some kind of support they are getting, some kind of assistance they are getting. This is not because they are practicing under senior guys, senior lawyer. Therefore, it is not like salary drawn.
You are not
seniors, some kind of what you call consultation fee or whatever you call them, but it is not just a salary component. When the salary component comes, then we can claim it as employment. Otherwise, it can be called as employment.
So then where we can mention this benefit which we are getting, I mean, this particular thing. So
yeah, you can mention. You can mention. You see, of something like 50 graduates they are passing out every year. There are some 25% or 30% register for practicing, and the remaining 20% are joining in private sector, something like whatever the fact you can mention that can be given. But I understand there are great number of demand for lawyers, especially in the competitive world now, where the litigation is emerging on a large scale. Therefore, the legal counselors are required in corporate bodies, including our Ambanis and Tata, etc. There are good amount of demand from the multinational companies, not only Indian companies but also elsewhere. I think the law graduates can think of joining and think of looking for probing it. And most of the times, what they prefer, they want to settle down in their tehsil itself or in the district itself and practice because of various reasons, domestic reason and relatives, etc. I think they can go a little beyond and they can think of joining in multinational companies. I'm just giving out of my box I'm talking about. There are tremendous scope for them to join. But with regard to registering here for assessment, they can just you can just point out that this much percentage of lawyers are entering in the practice of legal counseling under senior advocates. That you can mention. That is the point I would like to make.
So one more thing, sir. So many of our students, they are going for judiciary. So there is a to clear, I mean, pre or mains. But when they, they cannot clear the interview. So can we mention this particular point? They have cleared the pre or the mains in 5.2.3 matrix.
Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. You can mention, but what is the remedial measure you have taken to overcome the difficulty in facing the interview? That you have to highlight again. That is a point I would like to emphasize. Okay, there are some difficulty like communication, language problem will be there. Some psychological problem will be there. When they are clearing the written examinations, there may be some problem in facing the interview. What is that the college is initiating? What is that the alumni association is initiating to overcome such a difficulty. If it is given, then it will be your law graduates employment also will go up. You can claim twofold benefit.
Sir, in SSR also and DBP also, both we can, in both the things we can mention ki so much students have cleared the pre and mains. In both the
Yes,
things,
yes,
sir, we
yeah.
can mention.
Yeah, you can mention.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else who want to ask question? Steffi Khurana, ma'am, Steffi Khurana. If you want to ask question, please ask.
Question. They can say, they can submit, they can comment my.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am, please.
I am Punita
Yeah,
from. Sir, I'm Punita, assistant professor from Bajaj College. Sir, I
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to ask. You mentioned student association activities.
Yes,
You mentioned student association activities
yeah.
under placement and career guidance.
Yeah.
Sir, can you give some examples? What kind of activities will come under this head?
See, the students' activities range fold. You see, there may be some kind of economic. In economics, we have economic forum, which is maintained by students. Economic forum. Here itself, we have research counselors forum. This is also maintained by students. In some other institutions, we have different forums, like cultural forum. So each forum has its own role to play in the domain of knowledge. And if there is star activity which is going on either at the regional level, national level, or international level, that can be documented and shown in the respective place. This is what I meant, student association.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody want to ask question? Dr. Shelly, ma'am, please. If you have a question, please ask.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ajay. First of all, I want to compliment today's resource person for such a elaborative and eye-opener session. Thank you so much, sir, for that. I'm Dr. Ellie, assistant professor from the host college only. Sir, I want to ask 2-3 things. Number one, you were talking about SAM. Please tell something about it in detail.
Which one? Which one?
SAM. You were talking about SAM.
Sam, I don't remember Sam.
Okay. So secondly, you were talking about word scholarship. So we are a teacher education institute. Can our students claim for those kind of scholarships, word scholarships or something, or those are just for science colleges or science institutes or IITs only?
I'm not following your, what is that Sam I said? Can you just recollect earlier one and then other scholarship, international scholarship you said, you know?
Yes, sir. Word scholarships I'm talking, and I'm talking about SAM. When you were talking about these scholarships only, then only you use this term.
Welcome. I was mentioning about Welcome Trust. Welcome Trust.
Okay, maybe then I.
Yeah, this is an international body located in UK, which do extend the fellowship for the life sciences, especially the medical field, biological sciences. You know, they can avail. Even independent research is going on in India, especially on dominated area in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, etc.
Okay, sir, there are any trust which can fund teacher education institute in particular?
I have limited knowledge, madam. I have limited knowledge, but this can be browsed in the website. It's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
And we have, please be on the line. We have education department in the campus, in Gandhigram campus.
Yes.
And last year or last year before, I think 18-19, we got a special assistance of 10 crores from the Ministry of Charity, MHRD.
Okay.
MHRD to have a special, what do you call, special scheme. And we have started integrated program, something like 4 years or 4.5 years.
Okay.
BSc Ed, like like you have the Regional Institute of Education in Mysore, you know.
Yes.
In tune with that, we have started the integrated program, which is a special assistance by the MHRD. 10 crores was given by MHRD through UGC.
Very
So,
nice.
so I think teacher education institution has a tremendous potential. Even in my earlier university, Salem, Periyar University, Salem, where I was working for 10 years, even that education department is also doing well. They also got some assistance. I remember they started MA in education. They had only MA, BA, MA program.
So it is, yes, thank you so much, sir. Very encouraging. I request you, if you get anything about it, please kindly assist us in future also.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Ajay, may I ask one more, please?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I heard from many of on many of the platforms about autonomous colleges these days. Do they have some kind of special grants they receive from the central government?
For
autonomous colleges.
Madam, there are colleges with the potential for excellence. Please remember, normally potential for excellence is given to only universities. In Tamil Nadu, we have notable colleges like MCC, Madras Christian College in Chennai, St. Joseph's College in Trichy. They are all awarded potential with potential for excellence. That stage they have gone. Not special assistance. They have got a separate identity which is equivalent to university. Please remember this.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. It's nice session. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ajay, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Satpal Kaur, ma'am, please ask your question.
Yeah. Good afternoon to everyone. Well, myself is Dr. Satpal Kaur, Associate Professor in Shir Kanshiram College of Physical Education, Bhakumajra, Kharar. Sir, it was a wonderful and an enlightening session. But I just want to want to know little about the student support survey. Sir,
student support survey.
About this.
It is not called a student support survey. Actually, in the SSR, there is a provision for student support survey is there.
Yeah.
But in the student support, what I am talking about is student support and the progression. There, the student survey is there. What we call SRR, SSR, something is there. There is a component for that.
That's
they directly
about that, no?
Yeah. The validating agency, the Naac has given to the private agency, or I don't want to use the word private, but it's given to a separate agency.
Okay.
They will directly contact the respective students, which you listed them and which you listed and submitted to the Naac. They in turn, they will contact the students and they get to know the details, whether hostel facility is there.
Okay.
If it is there, is it in order? If the students says yes, it is there, it is in order, then they will consider it as positive. So that responses will be given to the PT members when they are visiting. That will be given. So accordingly, the investigations will be made.
Okay.
So the responses will be there. The responses, whether the student was very positive about your institution, some students may intensify negativity. That is different. That is why I told in the end, you should sensitize all your students, all your teachers, all your non-teaching staff to a core, so that they will be having more knowledge about the activities going on, and also how to react, how to respond, how to interact with the peer team visit. This is a point I would like to emphasize. So certainly the survey is there, and since the student-centric, I remember on the other day, Professor Suresh Cholke was also emphasizing how the assessment is centering around different dimensions, particularly on student-centric. You take any dimension of 7 criteria, ultimately they touch upon here and there, in one form or the other, either directly or indirectly, either forward or backward, the student's dimension will be there. That is why when I said the list of documents, you should collect from administrative section, academic section, and also examination section, not just a student welfare. We have in Kandigram, we have student welfare. All the information will be available, but in spite, you have to collect the information from different wings of your institution. Therefore, the students should be thoroughly sensitized, please remember, motivated, ignited, cleared their doubts thoroughly. You can have maximum number of meetings. Even before you intend for SSR, before you intend for assessment, please convene the meeting, you demonstrate, you discourse, you interact. Then only we will be having our SWOT. What is the strength with us? What is the weakness with us? What are the opportunities? How the challenges can be met out, etc. So this has to come from the different stakeholders, including students.
Right, sir.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good. Very good afternoon.
I have a query.
Yeah, please.
In matrix 5.1.1 under student support, there is one thing added new: capability building and skill enhancement initiative undertaken by institution. Under this, e-content development is added. On the part of students, which type of e-content development is expected by Naac, sir?
5.1.3.
No, sir. 5.1.1 for teacher education institutions.
5.1.1.
Yes, sir.
Only table I have 5.1.1.
Sir, I think you have a general matrix with you.
Achha, you have separate matrix for
yes, yes.
Okay,
Here.
Okay, fine. But can you just repeat the question, madam?
Yes, sir.
I will try to answer. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is mentioned that
what is the kind of
capability building and skill enhancement initiative.
Capacity building, not capability building. Capacity building. Okay. Yeah, I understand. The capacity building.
In the manual, it is mentioned capability. So I was.
Okay,
yes.
Maybe.
The capability building and skill enhancement initiative undertaken by institution. Here
we have, madam, even in my presentation it is there in 5.1.3 it is there. I will try to show it.
Sir, I am having 5.1.1.
Okay, anyway.
Sir, it is mentioned that there should be e-content development.
I think, madam, it is there. It is there. You can see it.
Yes.
You see, in my slide, it is there.
Okay,
capacity building and skill enhancement initiatives taken by the institution include the following, which has 10 points, where I have listed out 8 points, like competitive examinations, it's clear.
Yes.
Career counseling is clear.
Yes.
Soft skills is clear.
Yes, sir.
Remedial coaching is clear. Language and communication skills, it's clear. Bridge courses, life skills, yoga, physical fitness, health and hygiene, personal counseling.
Yes,
I think in the personal counseling, I little elaborated with the Gandhigram model because it's unique. And I think here I don't have e-content, but perhaps what you are having maybe for.
Sir, it is latest.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. We are all old, you know.
Which is recently changed in few.
Right, yeah. There is a possibility. There is
few
a
months
possibility.
back.
See, whatever I present, even I clarified with Dr. Suresh on some issues. The components are kept changing quite often. It is left to the Naac to do that. What e-content, what they mean is, in the capacity, in the capability building, you are talking about capability building, but it is capacity building. The e-content, I mean, the notes, the references, which are useful for the students in the classroom learning, can be prepared students themselves by browsing in the net, in the internet, in the online mode. That is what e-content they mean, I suppose. I am not very clear about it. I presume.
One more thing is added in this, that online assessment of learning. Sir, suggest some guidelines for online assessment of learning.
Online assessment, where is it in the?
It is also mentioned in this criteria only, sir. It is for teacher education institutions, particularly.
Online assessment mode means actually now because of the pandemic lockdown and the pandemic problem. All over the world, I think in the world we have advanced programs, techniques, etc. available, and now we started doing it. In Tamil Nadu, it is going on now. The online examination is going on. Online examination is going on. Only one university is going for blended examination, and our university comes under central government. Therefore, we are going for blended mode, online and offline mode.
Okay,
And online evaluation, what I mean is, there are two components. One, online evaluation, what they mean from the student perspective is, online, they will communicate to the respective students to clarify certain aspects, as I said for the earlier question,
okay,
like
sir.
whether the infrastructure is good in your campus or not, for which the students should respond online.
Okay,
Am I
sir.
clear?
Yes,
The
sir.
second,
Yes, sir.
the second point is, the teacher has to evaluate online on the question, on the answers written by the students. That has also come to practice in large scale, particularly after the pandemic. Therefore, this is being in practice now, the online evaluation method by the teachers. I'm talking about the teachers. Even in our campus, I remember for the second year students, we conducted the continuous formation assessment (CFA) online this year. But there was a criticism about that, and the students may copy the answers, etc. But even for copying also, they need to have some skill. They cannot just copy on the question which you send with some raw material. Therefore,
Yes,
online mode has come to practice in India, especially at this hour, in a large scale. I don't know about Punjab, but it has come to practice.
it is very much here also, sir.
Yeah, we got to go
Yes.
for it now.
Yes.
And of course, the middle-aged teachers are okay, but teachers at advanced age like us, we find it extremely difficult to get with the computer. Today, I depended entirely on my student for a PhD scholar for rolling down the PPT. So automatically it will be there. It will be there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We can get it done. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please.
I have a query, sir. So some special philanthropists donate money to educational institute. If that institute uses that donated money for helping out needy students, then how smooth will be the legalities for documentation?
No, you can
What
say.
will be the effect of fee structure of various educational courses when we open our gates for foreign universities?
No. You can see, madam, if your institution is willing to sponsor a student, whether he comes from SC, ST or backward or women or physically challenged, whatever the class you call, it can be documented, no doubt about it. That is what I told in my presentation. The institution's own resources can also be utilized as special assistance for uplifting the needy students. That is quite possible. It is there. It can be legally shown. There are some institutions which motivate. They waive the fees. They may not directly give the money. They waive the fees, tuition fees, etc.
Is institute will have to face obstacle in documentation for the uses of that donated money?
Yeah, you can do that. That's what I'm saying. You can do. If your management has donated a few thousands of rupees or few lakhs of rupees or few crores of rupees, that can be given to the students in the form of assistance, and it can be legally shown in the document. It can be shown. But because they will be claiming that it has been spent for students' welfare, it has been spent for the students' upliftment. So that provision is there.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So yes, sir. So could you please elaborate the difference between freeships and scholarship? What does a freeship means?
Okay. Freeship, just now I said, fee waivership. Fee waivership.
Okay.
When you pay the
Right,
fee, it becomes a free ship. it becomes a free ship. That's all.
Fine.
And some colleges may waive the tuition, the mess fees. It becomes free fees.
Okay. Even sir, our institution do, but we don't know actually this thing is going to become in this particular point, so we can take benefit now.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Madam, that is why I said bit and piece information don't miss. You keep everything. Let the team decide whether it is relevant or less relevant. I don't say irrelevant. I say less relevant.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
I think सब कुछ are ready for.
Anybody else from the?
Most of them are waiting for having खाना. I think, you know, food.
Sir, I think there is no more question from the audience. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
You answered all the questions of the participants in a very elaborative manner. And I'm sure all the participants got satisfactory answer to their questions. It's really good to see that all the participants comes up with lots of queries and make this session very fruitful, interesting, and interactive. So I must congratulate to all of you. I hope you will participate in actively in coming session of this workshop also. So thanks one and all. After very interactive and participatory question answer session, now I request Dr. Sarabjit Kaur, Assistant Professor, GHG Harprakash College of Education for Women, Sidhma, Ludhiana, to present a summary of the day and vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir. A very good afternoon and warm welcome in the concluding session of today's workshop on Criteria 5, Student Support and Progression. This may be the end of today's workshop, but undoubtedly this is a new beginning. On behalf of GHG Harprakash College of Education, Sidhma, I take this opportunity to conclude the 6th session of the workshop and propose vote of thanks to all those who have directly and indirectly contributed to the success of this session. First of all, I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our worthy resource person, Professor S. Rajendran sir, for his deliberation on student support and progression. Sir, you in a very comprehensive manner touched each and every aspect of all indicators comprising criteria 5, that are student support, student progression, student participation in activities, and alumni engagement. Sir has emphasized on adopting student welfare measures and encouraging alumni participation for yielding quality results. Sir, in his presentation, clearly explained that along with teaching, institutions must take care of students' progression and must bring quality changes in teaching learning process as per the trend of progression of students. Sir, you surely enriched our understanding about various issues and technicalities under this area. Sir, we gained tremendously from this session. Now we have greater clarity of this criteria. Sir, your vast knowledge and experience reflects in your handling of question answer session and clarifying our doubts. We assure you, sir, that whatever practices of student support and progression we learned in this session will be definitely implemented in our institutions. I am sure that all participants have taken note of your practical suggestions, and these will surely helpful for the preparation for Naac visit and raising quality continuum of our institutions. Events of this dimension can't happen overnight. It needs meticulous planning and execution and an eye for detail. It was the dedication and enthusiasm of our principal, Dr. Amandeep Kaur, for awakening the passion and desire to support as a leader and as a ladder to reach the pole of success. Ma'am, your constant encouragement has always helped us in the best way. Wholehearted participation and presence of our management member, Sardar Pritam Singh Jolji, who added another feather to the glory of this workshop by his presence throughout the session. Sir, your presence gives great strength and moral support to us. Sir, we are extremely thankful for your
Ma'am, voice is not audible. Please
and motivation.
repeat.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please carry on.
Wholehearted participation and presence of our management member, Sardar Pritam Singh Jol, who added another feather to the glory of this workshop by his presence throughout the session. Sir, your presence gives great strength and moral support to us. We are extremely thankful for your enthusiastic support and motivation, sir. As no program can be successful without active and participative audience, with the utmost feeling of deep appreciation, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the dignitaries, Professor Pachori, Professor Shukla, principals and staff members from different prestigious institutions for sparing their valuable time and making this event a success. I appreciate the hard work and sincere efforts of Dr. Ajay, convener of this workshop, for making all arrangements for smooth functioning of this workshop. A special thanks to all my team members, the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Thank you very much. Over to Ajay, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sarvjit Kaur ma'am, for presenting very elaborative and systematic summary of the day, and vote of thanks. So thanks one and all. I truly appreciate your gift of time and your patient hearing. Your presence really making this workshop a grand success. Once again, thanks everyone. This is all for the day. We will meet tomorrow sharp at 11 o'clock with full energy and same enthusiasm. So see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Now you can leave the meeting.
Namaste, namaste.
Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Namaste.
You really make the day for us.
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hitam Singh Jol, sir. Namaste, namaste, namaste.